now let's put on the table everything that can be of a concern for you regarding exams. What are they? What do they measure? What purpose do they serve, etc., etc. Whether they're necessary, whether students benefit or not, what about them? Everything about them. Now, just researching, when I was researching about exams, I asked myself, but where was that it started? Where did exams started? Yeah, because as far as I recall, there weren't exams in ancient Rome, or the ancient Greeks didn't have any exams, right? And yet they set the basis of European Western, at least Western European culture. So they are an example even right now. But these guys operated without exams. Turns out in the UK, the first written exam is from the 19th century. So what happened? Yeah, in between. What happened in between? I found out that it was actually the Chinese that had the first exams, and it was to access the clerk body, the imperial bureaucracy required from massive tests. They were extremely hard to pass, and they lasted for 3 days. And it was really a matter of live or die, or pass it or die. It was something amazing. Little by little, exams became to be something recurrent. Yeah, we are getting used to them. Of course, kids are subject to them from primary to university and even further. And I don't know you, but I still have that recurrent nightmare of having to sit an exam and not knowing anything about it. So it's definitely something traumatic, at least it is for me. So my question is, what are exams for, and what do they measure, in your opinion? What do you think? Anyone? Their opinion on exams? Sam, what do you think? Or Olga, you've raised your hand.
Honestly, I really think the only purpose that exams serve for is to have some competition, to raise competition, to eliminate people. I mean, the logic behind it is wrong. It is not for a good purpose. So because, you know, especially these days, universities, colleges are so competitive that they have come up with these, you know, elaborate systems of elimination. So we have all these different types of exams, whereas I remember when I was applying for the UK for university, it was such a relief after years of Turkish education system, which also puts us through a lot of exams. I didn't have to do any exams. I just had to apply for a university, exchange some emails, write an application, a proposal. It was a lot more personal and it felt much better. And even if you get rejected in a case like that, you don't take it so hard, because it's not like a once in a lifetime opportunity that is missed. You can still apply for other places and so on. So there are other opportunities, but unfortunately exams still in our world serve as the number one elimination system in most countries.
I can't agree more. Yes, I can't agree more. The more we think about it, or the more I've been thinking about it, this is the conclusion that I've been reaching. Probably the society today requires, to have a ranking system for people, and some will pass, some will be there, some are yes, some other will be no. Yes, so elimination. Yeah, this is it. How about you, Steve? What do you think?
It's such a big subject. I mean, it's now I'm looking at that Ken Robinson stuff. When I do classes on education, and certainly with the immersion classes, we always do a section on education. And that Ken Robinson outdated paradigm TED talk, the one that's animated, when he talks about the factory systems and all of this. And the worst kind of testing in that case is the standard testing, the multiple choice testing, which they always use in America, which is just a money-making operation, essentially. And then they were looking at Finnish schools. The Michael Moore went into Finnish schools, and they talked about the exams that they have in Finnish schools, which are never multiple choice. So at least they could express their understanding of a subject, for instance. Yeah. So there are different education systems, but unfortunately in Spain, there's so many problems with the system. But it seems that testing is endemic, and homework's endemic as well. The best subject, when I was thinking about teaching in schools, I never really thought I was cut out to be a teacher with the kind of classroom management aspects of working in a secondary school, and also the subject knowledge. I was a geographer by background, but the subject I liked was something called global perspectives, which I've shared with you in the past. And in global perspectives, they've moved to a system whereby the assessment's done in a number of different ways, but one of which is a piece of research or in-depth research on a specific area that follows, and then with a presentation that the student gives. They also do it in teamwork, a team presentation, and an extended piece of writing. The exam's only a small part of it. I think it's probably a third of the assessment. So that's kind of a model that some schools and certainly universities are moving towards. And it's a much more effective thing. And certainly someone like me who's got a very bad short-term memory. I'm quite good at writing essays, but I'm not very good at exams. It eliminates all the cramming and all the kind of learning by rote. But there's very few institutions that are adapting that. And certainly in Spain, I can't see it happening soon.
That happens with many. What happened to you? You saying that you have a short memory, or I don't know what you said. When I was reading about exams, I read about Alexander Bell. He had a very huge knowledge, but his mindset was that once he figured out the solution to a problem, then he was bored with the results. Yeah, so he did really bad, because once he understood what's going on, he was very lazy and unwilling to put it down in paper. Yeah, so he actually did very bad in exams for that reason. Imagine. Yeah, so and there is, for instance, in Finland, they are known to have probably one of the best educational systems. These guys no longer have the concepts of homework and exam or standardized tests as we know them. Yeah, they do foster a lot of what you said: project work, teamwork, and learning based on experience. Yeah, which is amazing. So unfortunately, you're right to say that it happens probably in universities more than schools. So in schools, kids still have to do that test or that exam, and they worry about it, a big deal. And sometimes they come to us with this aim in mind. Yeah, can you help me pass my exam? This is what they say. Yeah, can you help me pass my exam? So what we say here, how we answer here, will be determinant for them to understand or not the whole idea behind Oxinity, yeah, and the help that you can provide. Mari Carmen, what do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Of course, there's got to be in the world a way to measure people's knowledge, and that's what exams are there for. That's very good. But concerning languages, the truth is that they're so obsolete because it's been focused mainly on business as opposed to what do I want this guy to know. And the best proof that we can give to parents, which is actually what I tell them, okay, you want to do a B2. Your son's done a B2. Let me speak to him. How come you've done a B2 and you can't speak? So there's the measure there is wrong, okay? Yeah. Not to mention with C1, even though they've got the speaking part, but they make an average and they can barely pass it. So I say, what do you want? Do you want your son to know English because maybe he's going to go abroad or he's going to need it certainly for work? It's English nowadays, it's not a plus, it's a must. Mm-hmm. So do you speak it or you want your paper? Okay, you have to do your paper. The school obliges you. That's fine. Now comes the other side. If you want him to speak, come with us because that's what we do, as opposed to saying A, B, C. And that's the greatest thing we've got, I think, to sell in this concern.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't agree more. So one thing is competencies for life, or very short-term solution for that exam. Not necessarily, you're right. I mean, exams, for instance, a multiple choice test in a language, in English. What competencies are we testing? Yeah. So you're right to question the knowledge of a student who has passed their B2 or first or whatever exam. You're right, because you know how exams are formulated, and you know that if we learn the technique, we can pass the exam. That's true. But whether or not we can speak, that's a different story. Yeah. So this is exactly what we can explain when it comes to that question. Do you prepare for exams? Yeah, this is exactly what we can say. One thing is we prepare for life, another thing is we prepare for this particular exam. Have you ever been asked the question, do you prepare for exams? Has anyone been approached with this question?
Constantly.
Oh, yes,
Constantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
All
if
right.
you look at different webs, it's the first thing. I want to do the B2. My son wants to do the B2. He needs to pass the B2. That's the mantra.
Yeah, that's the mantra. I know. So what do you answer? What is your specific answer? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it a yes but or no but? What is it?
It's a yes, but it's it's a yes, but we always have to say yes to everything, and then we find the solution. So yes,
Yeah.
but I would like to know if what you want is your kid to know English, or you just want him to pass. What's the purpose? Is it just a school issue, or you want to go a bit further and have your son speak? So we know the answer to that, right? All of us here.
Yeah. Of course. If I were to ask you guys, can you or will you be able to pass the first certificate? You would probably laugh to me. Yeah, you would, of course. If I were to ask you, would you pass the proficiency? Probably you would say, well, maybe not with an A, but I would pass the proficiency. Yeah, being an English teacher, I should be able to. So of course they will be able to pass any exam, if they speak English. Will it be with the highest grade without preparing for that exam? Probably not, but probably or very likely with a very good grade. Okay, so once the thing is that with this philosophy of prepare them for life, not for the exam, then any exam, not just the first one, any exam will be passed. I wanted to ask Sonia, because how are things there in Portugal? Is there such an obsession with exams? Yes.
Exactly. Yes, exactly the same, Radmila. Exactly the same. I have to say that all that you have said is totally applicable here. Yes, that is the same. So I think that kids, so they are prepared for the theory, not for the practical way. So not for to use the English for the use of English in life. That's it, basically. So the best thing that I can share with you is so my son's experiences. So, for example, my daughter, she hates exams. She speaks English really well, so really well. But every time she has to do an exam, sometimes she doesn't have a good grade or she fails something. But every time that she's assigned to do a presentation, she's the best. Okay, because fortunately, in some cases, teachers are trying a new approach instead of exams, instead of tests, but it's not the rule. So it's like an experiment. And when that is the case, she goes really well. It goes really well with her. So let's see it. So because they need to speak, they need to do the presentations, they need to that is the best part, I think. But
reminds me of Mark's son. Yeah, it has the same experience as the one that you're describing. We lost Sonia there, but she'll be back, I'm sure. So how about you, Path? What are your insights on exams? How do you see them?
Hello.
Hello.
Right. Well, I'm in Barcelona and I'm driving at the same time I'm speaking.
Oh my
So
God.
sorry about that. Don't worry. I'm with a free hands kid, so no worry.
Okay.
My children, both of them have exactly the same experience that Sonia and Mark has often shared with us. I have this thing about my kids hating exams, and also the thing about, for me, I mean, the important thing, as Maricarmen was saying, is my kids to be able to speak English, really. I don't really mind whether they are A1, A2, B1, B2. And there's also this progress sort of culture, which like first you do the exam for A1 and then you B2 and then and that wasn't true for me, even for me. You know, I never had any exam. I never would take any classes. I mean, English classes, of course, at school. But then I went to London. I went to live in London for 10 years. And then when I needed, I just did the C2 and I passed it. No classes, not anything. So that's what I tell my students anyway. You know, whenever you need, whenever you see that you're going to need the test, then you pass it, or then you take it and you pass it. Until then, you know, forget about unless you need them. And for my kids, they haven't needed just yet. Whenever they will need it, they will just take it. That's it. That's my view anyway.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. Sonia, do you want to finish? Because, yeah.
Yes, I lost connection suddenly. Well,
No worries.
well, basically that's it. So I think that above all, on top of all, we need to make them speak, practice as much as possible. But it's a fact that in schools, the obsession is the same. So to do tests, to do exams, and so it's too traditional. So we would need really like to do some big changes. Not only in English, in all the subjects, but definitely in English, because languages is all about that, all about being able to speak and to communicate effectively, right? So if you don't do that and you just pass the exam, then you will not be able to go to the real world. You need to be ready for the real world.
Okay, great. Sam, can I ask you, how about Italy? What's the situation there? We have we've seen how is in Portugal, how is here in Spain. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, from my kind of limited understanding, because I mean, I haven't engaged too much with the system here, but I've been speaking to my wife and everything who's gone through it. There's also this importance on exams. I don't know how it compares to Spain and Portugal exactly, because like I said, I mean, I haven't engaged too much with it here, but you can still see it. There's this importance on having a certificate, right? Rather than actually being able to, speak. You can see that when you look at job listings on like LinkedIn and other places. You can always just see people looking for a certificate. And if you don't have the certificate, that's kind of like, whether or not you can actually speak is irrelevant. And I mean, I don't know. I wonder if this is changing now because, if you can speak a language, do you need a certificate? Like, this is the fundamental point, right? Do you need to actually be able to do an exam if you can just have a conversation with somebody? How important actually is that? And so, I don't know. I think I agree with everybody that these exams are sort of almost kind of like a waste of time. They can be useful tools for, guiding learning and like understanding where you're at, what you need to learn, where your gaps are, and that kind of thing. But as an actual sort of like recognition of competence, I don't know if they really serve that purpose.
Probably let me go back to the idea of ranking. Yeah, they serve the purpose of, okay, so if you have the certificate, then you can access something. Yeah, being it I don't know, a university program or this or that. Yeah, only probably for that. Real competencies. I'm with you, absolutely with you. So just to recap a little bit of the ideas, I absolutely agree with you guys that exams serve the purpose of probably, I'll use Olga's word, to rank or even to eliminate people out of the equation. Steve's idea, money-making operations in the majority of cases, yeah, especially with, sadly, with English learning, when we have the first or, well, any of these exams. But in any case, to me, from what I understood that you were saying, Mari Carmen's idea also. What do we prepare kids for? Yeah, do we prepare them to speak English or to pass an exam? The idea is that if we prepare them for life, they will learn English, they will be able to pass any exam. So short term, if the purpose is, or if the strategy is, I will teach you to pass an exam, we will reach one certain goals that have nothing to do, not necessarily, with real linguistic competencies. While if we prepare our kids, our teenagers to learn to speak good English, then we will have them pass exams easily, very easy. So, well, if there is anyone else that would want to share something, then now is the time. Anyone, anything, any other experience?
Radmila, I just wanted to add that I think what we should do is to make parents and students realize the fact that exams are based on skills, and they test a very specific skill. All the exams, be it English or maths or whatever, the only skill they actually test is passing an exam, mainly. I mean, it is a, you have to know the structure of the exam. For example, you might know English, but if you go into an exam thinking they're going to put an essay in front of you and you end up with a multiple choice exam, you'd be shocked and you wouldn't perform as well. So preparing for an exam is a completely different skill, whereas knowing a language, of course, you still need the knowledge to pass the exam, but that is a long-term investment, having the knowledge of the language. Whereas if you know the language, and then you have an exam coming ahead, you need a couple of months to get to know the structure and prepare for it, and then you can nail it. So I think parents should see this, that it doesn't really go together. Exam preparation and language learning are not the long-term friends in that sense.
Absolutely. And I really love the way you wrapped it up. I love it. I was going to write all these conclusions in a blog that we will post next. And Olga and Mari Carmen and Sam and Steve and Path and Sonia and Mari Carmen, everyone, your words will be there, believe me, because this is how it has to be. I hope more teachers can read that and agree with us and be on the same page on that. So hopefully we will have that shift in mindset for parents, for parents as well. Okay, guys, so thank you. In 4 minutes we have evolution. Stay for it if you need to share something. We'll be back in 4. Yeah.